Welcome back to another intriguing, insightful, and exciting episode of the Me&My Health Up podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Hartcher, your mind coach and nutritionist, and I'm here to take you on a journey through how to create healthy habits. During the end of the year, we tend to reflect. We reflect on the year that's been, so we looked at what's worked, what hasn't worked, what are we going to change to make it better, and we generally implement that change in the following year. So I'm going to talk about healthy habits. How do we create healthy habits? And it's really important that the first thing you identify is, what do you want to change? So be very specific about what you want to change. Make sure it's very specific, right? And then you want to have a way in which you can determine whether you're on track to seeing progress. And so it's good to have different measures, because there's always a transformation that's happening when we create any change. But sometimes the measure we're choosing, we're not seeing much change in that measure. Like, for example, weight loss, right? So weight loss, generally people say it's the scales. I'm just going to measure myself on the scales. However, it's difficult with the scales because there's so many things that can affect the scale weight, such as your hormones, such as your sleep, such as your stress level, such as like how well you're moving your bowels, whether you're gaining muscle, losing muscle, gaining fat, losing fat, gaining fluid, retaining fluid, losing fluid. So there's so many things that can cause fluctuation. So when I talk about if you have a weight loss goal, I'm always looking at what are some additional measures that we can determine whether you're making progress. So if we're looking at weight loss, one of the things we'll start to see is, because we're doing more healthier habits, we're transforming something, we're doing something better, we'll generally see an improvement in energy or an improvement in sleep, or both together. So we'll see that generally first. We'll feel better. So there's this feeling, I feel better for doing it, but you might not see a change in scales. But however, you're noting that you need to notice more than one area. Otherwise you'll get frustrated, because you might not be seeing a movement in the scale and think, oh, nothing's happening, therefore it's not working. But you're feeling better. You're feeling more energized. You've got more, you're more productive, you're more vital. And these are really important things with respect to health. And I actually think vitality is a better measure for health than the scales, because the scales are a bit arbitrary. We sort of make up numbers as to what we like, and then you want to think, why do I like that? Well, maybe it's just because that time in your life, you're just enjoying, you're more in flow, right? And therefore you associate this weight with this feeling, but it's really got not much to do with the weight, and it's just more the feeling. And so therefore you could actually achieve that weight, and if you don't have the same feeling, you'll still be unsatisfied or discontent. So we really want to see it as, I'm making a healthy transformation, and I'm going to create many measures as to how I'm going to see whether I'm on this path to being more healthier. And so there's lots of different measures. We can have heart rate. So heart rate will generally drop the more fitter we get. Our VO₂ Max will improve. So there's devices that can measure this, such as the Oura Ring, such as the Apple Watch, the Samsung Watch. There's all different types of sporting watches will generally give you the heart rate, some of them give you VO₂. And so we can use those as measures if they're improving. Heart rate variability is another one that we can measure through these devices, and that will show improvements when you're getting fitter. So you can measure your sleep, whether your sleep's getting better, that's improving. So you don't need to just look at calories in, calories out and think that's health. I actually don't think it's healthy at all when we're measuring that sort of stuff, because we lose our flow state. We become too rigid. We become too ordered. Flow is in between order and disorder, total chaos, right? Think about a Venn diagram. We have one circle is chaos. The overlapping circle is order. Right in between is the flow, is when you're going to feel optimal, is when you're going to feel that you're on top of the world, is in between those chaos and order. When we're too much order, we're too rigid, too structured, and we get bored of that. When we're too disordered, we're frazzled and we're looking for order. And so we want to find this flow state in between total order and total disorder. And we want to get in between. And so we don't want to get too rigid. We want to find this flow state. The only way we can find this flow state is that we allow the flow. We allow a bit of disorder amongst the order. We allow a bit of order amongst the disorder, or this disorder amongst the order. So you get what I mean. It's a matter of we don't want to get too rigid on health. We don't want to get too laxed on health. We want to get just right, and just right for you is going to be different to just right for your friend, right? So with respect to health's a really high value for me. So you would perceive me as being more on the total order side or total structure or robotic around health. But it doesn't feel like that for me because it's such a high value. So again, it's going to depend on how much you value health. If you don't have a high value on health and you find you're more disordered, because we'll be more disordered in the areas we don't value much. And the only way you can really find or increase the order or increase the discipline or structure is through linking it to something that's really important to you. So if your children are really important to you or family is really important to you, then you need to link health as to be better able to look after my children. If you can see, well, if I'm healthier, I can do more with my children. If I'm healthier, I've got better emotional regulation, so therefore I can be more calmer and relaxed around them. If I'm more healthier, I can give more, I can support them more, right? So the more we link health to what we value, the more we'll find order in health, or the more we'll put time into health to create order. And so it's just this whole thing of making sure that we're linking healthy habits to what we value most. If it's business, then as you know, if you're healthier, you're more focused, you have more clarity, you're more productive, you're more energized, and therefore your business does better. You have better emotional regulations, you make better decisions as a result of having the emotional regulation. So we really want to, when we set habits, is make sure we're clear on what we're doing, clear on the action or what we want to achieve. Look at lots of different ways in which we can measure progress towards our end goal, and make sure we link what we're doing to how it's going to help you better achieve in the area that you value most, right? So make sure it's linked really strongly, because when the why is strong, the how becomes super easy. So we want to make sure that we understand why we're doing this healthy change and why it's important to us, because then we'll be able to maintain that momentum during difficult times, during challenging times. We're less likely to give up when we have a link to the underlying reason why, a strong link, an emotional link. It's so important that I do it. So that's really the foundations of creating healthy habits. I more focus on what is the healthy habit I'm going to adopt, as opposed to thinking I've got to remove something. I just take something more on, and the thing that's unhealthy tends to drop away, because the more I'm doing health, the more I don't want to cannibalize all the effort I'm doing. So the unhealthy things drop away. So maybe focus on what you want around health as opposed to what you want to get rid of. That may help you as well. Or for some people, it's focusing on what you want to get rid of, because that is the way you work. That is the way you are built, is that you're better to focus on what you're going to get rid of as opposed to what you want to gain. So I'm more likely to focus on what I want to gain and more likely to double down on that. And therefore, I don't want to do what is unhealthy, because it's going to cannibalize all the effort I'm making towards what I want to gain. So if you're struggling to create healthy habits in the new year and you're wanting some support, some guidance, some mentorship, some coaching, then I'm here to help you. Just click in the booking link under this to have a free conversation with me. We have a chat, see whether I'm the right person for you. If I'm not the right person for you, I can best direct you to who could help you achieve your health goal. And I'm always going to do that for you, because at the end of the day, I only want to work with the people that are going to get results. And if you resonate with me, connect with me, and we're aligned, then we can have this partnership and achieve great outcomes together. If we don't have that connection, and that's why I have this free discovery session, then I'll find someone that's better suited to help you achieve your goals. And ultimately, then you're going to achieve your goal, which is what I really want for you, is that you make progress towards being a healthier version of yourself. So thanks for listening. Thanks for your continued support throughout the year. Really appreciate it. Look forward to having lots of good guests, exciting guests, intriguing guests in the new year. We'll make sure I have a good lineup, and I'll continue to share my insights. But until then, continue to give me feedback, reach out if you need help, and continue to health up towards the end of the year and into the new year. Thank you for listening to another insightful, intriguing, and exciteful episode of the Health Up podcast.
Podcast disclaimer. This podcast and any information, advice, opinions, or statements within it do not constitute medical, healthcare, or professional advice and are provided for general information purposes only. All care is taken in the preparation of the information in this podcast. Connected Wellness Proprietary Limited, operating under the brand Me&My Health Up, does not make any representations or give any warranties about its accuracy, reliability, completeness, or suitability for any particular purpose. This podcast and any information, advice, opinions, or statements within it are not to be used as a substitute for professional, medical, psychological, psychiatric, or any other mental health care or healthcare in general. Me&My Health Up recommends you seek the advice of a doctor or qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Inform your doctor of any changes that you may to your lifestyle and discuss these with your doctor. Do not disregard medical advice or delay visiting a medical professional because of something you hear in this podcast. This podcast has been carefully prepared on the basis of current information. Changes in circumstances after publication may affect the accuracy of this information. To the maximum extent permitted by the law, Me&My Health Up disclaims any such representations or warranties to the completeness, accuracy, merchantability, or fitness for purpose of this podcast and will not be liable for any expenses, losses, damages incurred, indirect or consequential damages or costs that may be incurred as a result of the information being inaccurate or incomplete in any way and for any reason. No part of this podcast can be reproduced, redistributed, published, copied, or duplicated in a form without prior permission of Me&My Health Up.